Welcome to the premiere episode of the Combatosseurs. I'm your host, Manpreet, aka MMA Lock of the Night, Andrew Boy on Twitter at MMALOTN, and I got my co-host with me. You guys have never seen his face before, not a part of MMA Twitter, but he's the best friend of mine for the last 12 years. We got my man Tony here.
What's up, everybody?
Hey. So just a quick background on me and Tony. I've known this guy for 12 years, and I'm pretty sure...
Is it 12 now?
I think it's 12 years. I think 07 or 08, so maybe 11 years.
Something like that, yeah. I want to say I was like 19 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we started watching UFC around the same time.
Same time, yeah, I was about to say. I think it's hardcore. I
Yeah.
saw like a couple events to begin with,
Yeah.
but I don't exactly know. Like one of my first memories is Machida Shogun 1.
Yep.
I think that was like from then
I think
on,
even
or-
before, yeah.
No, it was a little before. Actually.
Right
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I think it was a Lesnar thing, though. For me, at least, it was
Yeah.
Lesnar coming over, and then I completely ditched wrestling, and I fucking went balls deep into MMA and
Yeah,
UFC.
you're right. Mir Lesnar. But I remember, I think the first big fight for me was Rampage Liddell. But then
Yeah.
that was just like a little teaser. I'd watch a couple events here and there after that.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just kind of... I think UFC 92 onwards. You remember that one?
That was the ultimate one, right? Was Vanderlei and
Yeah, it
Rampage
was
on
like
that
a
one?
triple,
I think
triple header.
That one was
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah, yeah. I think
Griffin Evans, I think, was on that as well.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
Yep. Mir Nogueira, that was on there for the interim title.
Yeah,
Those-
So me and Tony have been watching UFC for a long time together, and honestly, every time we get together, it's pretty much all about UFC. That's all we talk about. Even when we're gaming, we're playing like Call of Duty or some shit, we're talking about UFC, you know. And I thought the only person I could really have a co-host for a show that I'd want to do of this fashion would be my boy Tony. So I'm happy to have him along for the ride.
I'm happy to be here.
We got my man Big Rob, who's always going to be helping us out with the production side, and he has a little bit of a role too, so you guys just stay tuned for that one. But you guys obviously know him from the casuals and everything else he does behind the scenes for me. So pretty much, I got a nice format that I got in mind for this show. We're going to be covering the topics right now. I think the first 2 or 3 episodes we're going to do once a month. So we're going to cover the prior month's big news, how things have shaken up since then, what it means for the future of that specific division or a specific champion or something like that. And then other, small headlines that we can quickly tackle and get out of the way and just give our thoughts and views and our perspectives on it. So so we're going to have 3 main stories that we do for you guys. And we're just going to kick off with the first one right off the bat with pretty much everything that's been going on in the Bantamweight division, especially in February. So just for background's sake, Marlon Moraes knocked out Assunção in the second round, or was that a first round finish?
That was first round. It was submission.
Submission, okay.
Rocked him.
Moraes' dominant statement against Rafael Assunção in Brazil. To kick off the month, actually. That was the first fight of the month. And then Aljamain Sterling headlined the prelims of the first ESPN card, taking away a very gritty, strategic, and dynamic victory over Jimmy Rivera in that fight. So out of the two, who would you say had the more impressive performance? Who did you like out of those two? Like, who do you think made the biggest statement in the bantamweight realm of things?
Definitely have to go with Marlon Moraes.
Right?
The way he finished Assunção, like that was very, very surprising. I actually thought he would probably win a decision, if anything. Maybe like a later TKO finish or something like that.
Yep.
But he just ran through him, rocked him, immediately choked him, done, finished.
I'm pretty sure like every prediction video I saw for that or prediction article I saw was Marlon Moraes by decision.
Yeah.
Like nobody expected that fight. I even think the over-under on that fight was set in at 4.5 as well. So nobody really expected that fight to go to a finish, right?
Assunção's such a tricky fighter, though. He makes like these top guys look kind of like he just stifles people and he looks to counter, and it's hard to get. Like you saw it in the first fight. Yep. Marlon, he should have won that fight.
Yep.
Most people, I think,
everybody agrees.
All
Everybody
3
agrees.
rounds. Assunção had I think 2 good moments where he rocked him.
Yep.
But that's like the tricky nature of it, right? Like Marlon's kind of cruising, and then boom, you just get caught. And
yep.
He stifled Aljamain Sterling as well in their fight, and he just kind of, I don't know, he just shuts guys down, and then to run through a guy like that, it's super impressive.
I was, at least aesthetically, obviously the Marlon Moraes finish looks a lot more pleasing and appealing to the regular fan. But I'm really impressed with the way Aljamain Sterling was able to take a guy that was 22-2. His only loss being a flash knockout to Marlon Moraes, and I'm trying to remember his the other loss
That was
as
like
well.
his first fight or something?
One of his first 3 fights. One of his first 3 fights.
Before the UFC almost doesn't
Exactly.
make count.
Exactly. He was like 18-fight winning streak before he came into the UFC, right? So for Aljamain Sterling to go out there and make this guy completely uncomfortable and, that whole first round, just go for the takedown, but not even land him.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rivera did a really good job of taking, takedown defense was on point, but he was getting pushed up against the cage. He was taken out of his rhythm. and Aljamain Sterling would just pretty much fucking zapped his energy like that. I think the second 2 rounds, the second and third round, he pretty much had fun on the feet because Jimmy Rivera couldn't really pull the trigger or do anything, right? So that was very impressive to me. Another very impressive bantamweight win, and at least in my perspective, was Peter Yan. You know, he picked apart a veteran in John Dodson. You know, you can say what you want about John Dodson's decline in the bantamweight division as of late. You know, every time we see him as well, he looks like a different, like, creature from a movie. Like, now he looked like fucking one of the orcs from Lord of the Rings. Like, I don't know, man. Age is not good to him.
Like
he has
clown or something with that hairdo, the way it was.
Dude, he has like Philippine genes and some sort of African American gene as well.
Yeah.
So he's like half and half. So he's getting like both.
Crazy afro with this receding hairline that starts up here. It was just hilarious.
He looks like a mad genius fucked an orc from Lord of the Rings. Like, I don't know, man. I was kind of like thrown off. Every time we see him, we just don't know what to expect. Just shave the head, go back to being normal. Anyway, back to Peter Yan, though. Very impressive performance, right? Against a guy who has a lot of knockout power, he pretty much outstruck him.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about Dodson has been his speed, his power and his speed. It may diminish a bit, but Peter Yan still made it look easier than almost anybody who's beat Dodson in the past.
Yeah, 100%. That's the whole thing about Dodson. He's tricky because he's so fast. Yeah, the thing is, like, he is getting older now, and guys have kind of figured him out, I guess, to a certain degree, because he does really fight the same way.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's not good. It's still a very tricky way, even if you know going in. Like, he has a win over Pedro Munoz recently.
Yep.
Like that, I think that was Munoz's last loss, was it not?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Something like that. So, you know, he's not to be overlooked. And yeah, Peter Yan made it look easy. I think he did get caught once, but I think that was just him getting a little too aggressive. But yeah, he looked amazing. Even back to the Aljo Rivera fight.
Yeah.
I think we both thought Rivera's going to stifle the takedowns and win with boxing.
I know.
And like we both had that. We thought it was like, okay, this is probably going to
happen.
Yeah, going in, because Aljo, to me, he's had some good wins, but he hasn't looked super impressive against the top tier guys. So I thought, okay, Jimmy Rivera only lost against Moraes. He got clipped with a head kick. I think he'll be able to easily like stifle Aljamain and win with the boxing, but nope. Aljamain kept it in kicking range and he mixed it up well. And then by the end of it, it's just Jimmy Rivera is just mentally handicapped. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what's coming. He's thinking about what's coming.
He even said in his corner, man. In his corner, he was like, I can't feel it. I'm not here.
He totally mentally broke him pretty much by confusing him to the point where he didn't know how to react to it. So that was super impressive.
Aljamain has never really been impressive with his hands. He's always been a good dynamic kicker.
It's always been the kicking game, keeping range. But that's what he did so well, was made sure to use kicks to keep it out of the boxing range. And then Rivera just couldn't land anything.
Nope.
Couldn't get in close.
I really think it was that first round, man. That first round really threw Rivera off and it fucked up the whole fight.
Yeah, super impressive. Yeah, for sure.
So we know pretty much everybody thinks that Marlon Moraes should get the title shot next, right?
100%.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
even Aljamain Sterling, who had an impressive victory, said Marlon Moraes deserves a title shot. I'll sit around and wait.
Yeah, right? I mean, the only other, like, who else do you got on the top that maybe could deserve it right now?
We got the rankings up here. So let's look at this. We got Marlon Moraes number 1, Rafael Assunção number 2, Aljamain Sterling number 3, Pedro Munoz. So we know that Pedro Munoz just got a victory over Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah.
That's a big victory for him there. So what do you think about, like, Marlon Moraes fights TJ Dillashaw? I want to shut this discussion down right now in terms of fucking TJ Dillashaw against Henry Cejudo. We're not doing that shit again. Fuck it.
I'm actually kind of for that.
Fuck you.
Being for real, man.
We're not doing that, dude. No.
It was
no way.
It was an earlier stoppage.
Listen to this.
So,
early stoppage or not, however that fight played out. But even if it was a 5-round war where it was a split decision. Maybe a split decision, maybe a different thing. But even if it was a 5-round war one-sided way, you have to make both guys defend their title.
Okay, I agree. Okay, for flyweight, I don't think it's a big holdup if Cejudo takes a fight with the bantamweight champion. But I do see the point that TJ's holding up the division way too much because bantamweight,
with plenty of contenders.
Yeah, bantamweight has too many guys in line now. So I get it from that standpoint. Don't make that fight. I'm just saying, just from what happened in the first fight, you know what I mean? Like, you could see a point for it, but fine. Maybe I'm kind of coming to that side now. Maybe TJ should probably just defend his belt.
Defend the title.
Marlon is definitely the number 1 contender.
Absolutely.
That's not even
Henry Cejudo, you just beat DJ. Defend the title.
He's got Joseph Benavidez there because Benavidez is the last guy to hold a win over him.
Yep.
So he's still got that fight there. So I don't mind actually seeing that maybe Moraes, TJ, and then
both of them fight one more time.
Yeah.
Hopefully they both win, and then we do the rematch.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that, and I'm totally fine with Henry Cejudo going up and fighting for the bantamweight title and hopefully try to secure that, right?
Yeah. So, you know what? Even if regardless of if they win or lose, I think you could still make the rematch because even if TJ loses the belt, maybe he just goes to flyweight permanently and comes after his belt or something.
We still don't know what the actual.
Could see that fight.
We still don't know what the future of the flyweight division holds, though, right? So
a lot of guys are getting cut.
A lot of guys are going up in weight.
Totally forgot.
The only other big fight that's coming up, in my opinion, in the flyweight division is Jussier Formiga against Division Figueiredo. I keep fucking up his name.
Oh, I did. That fight's happening.
Yeah, that fight's happening. I think in the next week or two. So. That fight's coming right up. I think that's a big fight. But yeah, Benavidez against Cejudo, Marlon Moraes against TJ Dillashaw. And what do you think about? We'll end on this one for this topic. Who just fucking won? Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan. What do you think of that? Do you think Aljamain Sterling should sit around and wait? And Pedro Munoz, where does he fall in this? What's the correct matchmaking moving forward if Marlon Moraes is getting the title shot?
Yeah, that is who's number 7 there? Is it
Jimmy Rivera? Yeah.
See, I think maybe Peter Yan. In fact, honestly, if Lineker beats Sandhagen, I could see Yan getting Lineker next, or maybe a Jimmy Rivera.
Yes.
I think Aljamain.
Yes, please.
Aljamain wants to fight up. Which
all
one?
the lords, every god you have, pray to him and give us Peter Yan against John Lineker.
John Lineker.
Give us that fucking fight.
You love John Lineker. So
that would
not
be
surprising.
a war.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, actually, you're right. They would probably just go at each other.
I think that's a perfect fight for Peter Yan next. Just because rankings-wise,
you don't need to skyrocket him up.
Chill out.
Just because
it's going to be like the
top is stacked. I think Sterling should actually fight up if anything. But then it's like, how do you? I like the Assunção rematch for him. He can get a win back, and it's something to keep him busy because Moraes has not taken any other fight other than TJ.
Am I having a complete brain fart? And Aljamain Sterling and Pedro Munoz have never fought before.
No, they haven't fought before.
Okay, so why not line that shit up?
But
Pedro just beat a former champ.
Is Sterling willing to almost fight down? I guess I could see because he
just beat exactly.
He took out Cody, which is a top contender.
Yeah.
I think if I was Sterling, I'd probably want the Assunção fight because he's ranked above me. Yep. I'm not going to get Moraes for the champion, and I can get a win back over him. But then again, that is also a tough fight. So I don't know. I guess the only two options it would have to be Assunção or Munoz. I'd probably favor Assunção for him.
I got to go with Munoz. I want to see.
Right, fair enough.
I think that's the perfect.
It's a fresh matchup.
It's a tournament right there. You get Moraes against TJ and Munoz against Sterling, who are the two other viable contenders, at least in my opinion, right?
They should really pull Cruz out of the rankings right now.
Fuck
man.
that guy. That's just a totally another topic.
He's out for
fuck that guy right now.
He's completely injured for like a year or two again.
All right, so we're pretty much going to move right on to our next segment, which is the top performer of the month. Okay. So we're pretty much recapping February right now. So that went from pretty much the Brazil card all the way to the card before UFC 235. Can't remember that UFC Prague. That was the last event. So, Tony, I'll give it off to you. Who do you have as a top performer for February?
Yeah, I was looking over the events earlier again for February, and it has to be Moraes over Assunção.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you saying you disagree?
I wouldn't say I disagree.
Okay.
Because I do agree in a sense that like with Marlon Moraes, he is a guy that put on a performance that secured him a title shot.
Yeah,
if it's not a title victory, at least securing a title shot is close enough.
Yeah, it's over. It's who he did it against, and the fact that he also just avenged this loss. Like he's already been smoking guys.
Yeah.
He comes in the UFC, has his close fight with Assunção, gets a mulligan, and then just runs through him too. So now he's on. I think he's on a 3-fight winning streak.
Three KOs, I think. In a row,
they're all
too.
Finishes. Yeah, they're all KOs over top guys.
Aljo.
He cemented himself as just consensus #1 contender. He's probably going to be the favorite going into a fight with TJ.
I agree.
Based off the performance TJ had and the way he's been looking.
Yep, I agree.
So that just the way he won. If he had won a decision, we probably would have been like, okay, yeah, that's kind of what we expected. But he went
above and beyond.
Cemented himself at the top.
Assunção's a hard guy to put away, and Marlon Moraes made it look easy.
Yeah, very easy.
And Marlon Moraes is a scary motherfucker.
Yeah, so I'd have to go with him.
Okay.
Man, I still remember, this is just a little offshoot of Marlon Moraes. I remember when Miguel Torres left the UFC, and then one of his first losses outside was to Marlon Moraes, and I'm like,
who the fuck is
wow.
This guy?
No, I was kind of like, wow, Miguel Torres is really falling down. Huh? he's out of the UFC, and now he's losing to the guys in regional promotions like Marlon Moraes. And look,
no Wikipedia page back in the day.
Yeah, nothing. He was like 9-4 at that time too, or something. I'm like, who is this guy? He actually beat Marlon. Okay, sorry, Miguel. Yeah. All right, cool.
I remember we thought really highly of Miguel Torres, and I think we kind of started coming in on the decline of his career as well too.
Yeah.
So
I think the first fight I saw Miguel Torres was when he got choked out by Benavidez in WEC. And that was like his first loss in 40 fights.
Apparently he was a killer back in the day. So we just have to take their word for it. Pretty much. So in terms of my top performer of February, I had to go with It may not have been a fight that secured this guy a title shot, but it did secure a UFC record for him. I had to go with Charles Oliveira. He had that beautiful submission victory over David Tamor, in a fight where a lot of people did not think that Charles Oliveira was going to get this fight to the ground, or that, he had the takedown ability to get David Tamor to the ground. He didn't need it.
Exactly.
He outstruck the striker.
That was
like,
super impressive.
How impressive is that, to the point like everybody thought his only real victory in this would be to secure submission by getting the takedown, but did not need that at all. He looked amazing from the get-go, and I believe I passed on him in my own bets, but I was kicking myself for fucking.
I put a bet on Oliver.
Oh man!
I thought he was. I thought, okay, it's striker versus grappler, but in terms of striking, and in terms of each discipline, Oliveira, like, the gap was way bigger in grappling.
Yes.
Oliveira was just a much better grappler than Tamer was a striker over him. So I thought, okay, that's probably gonna. I think Charles Oliveira is gonna submit him, but. Yeah, he just kind of went at him and outstruck him, rocked him. It's like, well, what the hell's going on here? That was totally unexpected. Yeah, super impressive win for him.
What made it even more shocking was the fact that, like, looking back at David Tamor's past fights, he did a very good job of keeping his range, keeping his composure, and, maybe he had a friend scrap here or there. Whatever, say what you want about that shit.
Those brothers need to work on.
Yeah, they gotta chill the fuck out and, like,
grabbing the cage. I was really happy when his brother in the last fight got a point deducted right away, because I'm like,
no
look,
fucks
they
given.
keep doing this thing. This is like a habit.
They're synonymous for this shit.
Got to take the points away. Yeah.
So say what you want about that, but he had relatively good takedown defense, and Charles Oliveira isn't really known as the best takedown artist. He just smothers guys and tries to just drag them to the floor, and
You know what's funny? It feels like recently when he moved back up to lightweight, especially since the Will Brooks fight, like, that was when I noticed, I'm like, he's like out wrestling the wrestler. Like, he wasn't known as one.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if Will Brooks has just kind of fallen that much, but he was a really good wrestler, especially in Bellator. He looked like, I know he had a really bad run. I know. He was. Oh man,
Nick Lentz. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, he's coming off like back-to-back wins over Michael Chandler, their champion, and then he kind of, I don't know.
What a fucking. Yeah. Maybe we'll save that for another segment on a different episode.
He that fight too. He just gets choked, but I just remember when the way he took down Will Brooks, handled him, and then just choked him out. I was like, his wrestling looks pretty impressive now too. Yeah. And it was surprising because he's moving up from featherweight too. Yeah. And he's never been known to, as a strong guy like that. But yeah, he's been looking great.
I had to go with Charles Oliveira. And in terms of the UFC record that he broke, it was 13 submissions in the UFC, and he's been fighting since 2011, I want to say, or 2010.
We saw his debut. I think he have that the calf slicer.
Oh, he lost.
No. Sorry, his debut was a triangle choke over Darren Elkins, I believe, in like 40 seconds. And then he fought Efrain Escudero, beat him.
My memory is so short.
Charles Oliveira is one of my guys. You know those low-key. Yeah, he's one of my guys. Like, every time he loses, I'm always so upset and disappointed in him because I love the guy.
But he's put together a really good run, so I'm excited to see what's going on with him. So next big story that we got for today's episode is the heavyweight landscape. So the big fight that happened in this division was obviously Cain Velasquez, the return of Cain Velasquez against Francis Ngannou, former scariest man on the planet, or baddest man on the planet, Francis Ngannou. So Francis Ngannou comes in off of victory over Curtis Blades, knocking him out in the first round in UFC Beijing. I believe that was back in November. And now he comes back and knocks out, or kind of knocks out. I don't know.
I would call it. Well, it was a flash knockout for sure. At least.
So I showed Big Rob this one as well, where the guy said it was his knee that actually gave out compared to actually getting knocked out by that punch, right? So we got the casual's point of view where he believes it was the knee. So Tony, like, let's just get your quick thought on, like, what did you think it was? Was it the punch that knocked out Cain Velasquez, or was it the knee?
He definitely got a flash knockdown there. But I think during that is when the knee buckled, and he couldn't continue because of the knee. I think he probably would have been rocked and might have even been able to recover. Because we've seen Cain kind of, like, he's gotten hit by Congo, especially the Congo
that
fight.
One was nuts.
He kind of gets clipped, rocked, but he'll immediately jump in at the legs and shoot. It seemed like he kind of wanted to do that, but his knee gave out. So he did get clipped coming in, but you never know. He could have just popped back up, grabbed him wrestling, and done what Cain does to everybody. The knee is definitely what led to the fight stopping.
Yes.
Because even when he collapsed, he screamed and was like seemed in pain, not that he was hurt. Yeah. So I do think he went out for a split second, and during that second, his knee buckled and it gave out. Did you see that video? Oh no, I think you actually sent that to me, right?
Which one?
When he was training and it might have
Oh,
given out
yeah.
during
It was
the
the
workout
open
or
workout.
something? Yeah,
the open workout, the fight.
So
the
it
week of
might
the
have been a
fight.
little loose, and it
Yeah.
just kind of gave way then.
Yeah.
As soon as he got the flash knock. You know.
The only fuckery about that though is like his camp coming out and being like, you know, it was a shot to the back of the head, an illegal shot to the back of the head.
Nah,
that
was when he did the hammer fist thing, and it totally missed.
I know.
It
know.
like
I think it was.
here.
I think it was one of his looping punches that hit Cain, and they're trying to say that was an illegal punch. But like, it can be an illegal punch when he doesn't intentionally mean to aim for the back of the head.
There was definitely a short uppercut that snapped his head.
Yes,
back and
that's where I
him.
think he went out for that split second that eventually tore up his knee.
During that, his knee, that looked really awkward the way he fell on his knee.
So, regardless whether it was the knee, whether it was the uppercut, Cain Velasquez comes out on the losing end here.
Yeah.
He still banks a cool $350,000. I think that was his payout for this fight.
It's
$350,000 or $450,000.
It's pretty funny how he's not ranked and then he debuts at like number 7 after getting knocked down in 20 seconds.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, number 7.
But obviously we know it's Cain.
Exactly. So Francis Ngannou gets the victory here. Looks kind of dominant, if you want to call it that. Once again, what's next for him? Do you think he deserves a title shot, or do you think? What do you think is going on with the heavyweight division? Because we got Brock Lesnar out there, we got fucking Francis Ngannou out there, we got Derek Lewis fighting this weekend against Junior Dos Santos. You know, Cormier apparently just wants the big fights. He only has 2 fights left, something like that. He was saying.
Well, I think now they're saying just Brock and he's done. Oh, like I think that's I don't know if I
see. A part of me is like
up, but
I'm torn up about that, like because
okay,
you want him to get the big money fight, right?
Here's the thing, though. Okay. I'm a wrestling fan too, right? I do the pro wrestling.
I get it.
So I watch Brock Lesnar. I know about the behind the scenes WWE stuff. And I don't know if Brock is going to have another UFC fight because every time he's ready to do it, Vince McMahon throws a whole bunch of money at him and then he stays there. And he's
why get punched in the face for real when
they actually just released the salaries? He's getting paid in the WWE.
I think you told me the numbers, but
it's 500,000 per main event appearance and 12 mil a year. I mean, it's
to not get punched in the face.
Yeah, to not throw
not actually
around,
get punched in the face.
To throw people around. He's just suplexing guys anyway. So I don't actually think we're going to see Cormier Lesnar.
Okay.
So I don't know what to do with that. Like,
in my opinion, you know what needs to be done?
What do you think?
JBJ needs to go up.
Yes,
John Bones Jones needs to go up.
That's a given because heavyweight can use him, and light heavyweight he's done everything anyway. And there's no contenders. Nobody wants to see him fight. Well, at least I don't want to see him fight Thiago Santos. I don't care.
No. I need to see that fight.
Really?
I need to see that fight.
It'll be fun, but he's gonna.
I know, but it's gonna be fun while it lasted.
True. I guess he could get hit with like a spinning back kick or something, but
I'm giving Thiago Santos a shot, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
You're giving him a shot. Okay.
I'm not like a shot in terms of like I think that he deserves a title shot. I'm not saying he's winning.
Okay, you know what? He surprised me against Blachowicz. I thought he was going to get owned.
Exactly.
And he fought well, and he cleanly beat him. So, I don't know. He could surprise. Anthony Smith, for instance. Do you remember his Cesar Ferreira fight? I remember just being so down on Anthony Smith because I'm like, he was getting taken down without even like any effort or anything. And then now you look and he's like stuffing John Jones's takedowns too. So, I don't know. Like maybe Thiago Santos, same thing. No weight cut going up. They're going to start looking more beastly and better. Like all of a sudden, maybe the grappling gets better too, just because they're not as drained and tired. I don't know. So maybe you could pose a threat, but after Thiago Santos, I don't know who you got.
Like there's well in terms of heavyweight now though, like there's really nobody outside of.
It's got to be DC Jones for the heavyweight title. That has to be.
I think you would agree in this line of thinking that they should do Stipe Francis too.
That's.
As a main event, so make it 5 rounds if they need 5 rounds again.
100%. For those two, that's what I was going to say. For either the vacant heavyweight belt or just the #1 contender, depending. I don't know if maybe DC just vacates and goes back to light heavyweight phase. Whatever happens, right? I think those two should fight. Whether it's for, a vacant belt or #1
And then we got Luis Dos Santos this weekend, and then we got Overeem and Volkov fighting a couple weeks later.
This reminds me, okay, quick thing, because I've seen this brought up a couple of times too.
What's that?
Let's say Derek Lewis gets by JDS. Would you how would you feel about Ngannou Lewis too? I know this one hurts you a little more than it hurts everybody else. I don't know if they know the story.
This motherfucker had to bring it up.
Yeah, it's
this
bad.
Motherfucker had to bring this shit up.
It's bad. It's bad. Should I go for it? What was it, like a 10-fight parlay or something like that?
I've told Big Rob about this one too.
Yeah,
actually. So I had a parlay. Pretty much everything hit. I think it was 12 fights. Everything 12
fights.
hit. with one of the longest odds being Cormier to win inside the distance against Stipe at plus 425, plus a bunch of other underdogs. And my surest bet on the fucking parlay was Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis to go to not go 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And it
So
most definitely did, with the least amount of strikes thrown in a 15-minute fight.
So these are two monsters. They're talking crap about each other. They KO everybody, and they get to the cage that day, and they just stare at each other for 15 minutes. What happens is Ngannou just didn't want to attack, and then Derek Lewis's back blew out, so he didn't do anything. So
but he threw just enough.
He threw just enough to win a decision that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, it's like, that ruined his parlay. Like, the most surefire thing is the thing that ruined it.
It was five. I think it was $10 for like $4,000.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's just not the way to lose that bet. That's not fair.
Okay.
Anyways,
getting back to that fight, though. Yeah.
Outside of that, would you?
I wouldn't mind.
I'm actually down to see that fight because I think they deserve a mulligan.
I agree.
I don't think Ngannou's going to show up and mentally fold like that. I hope Lewis's back will be.
Yeah.
Even if Lewis's back's not okay, I think Ngannou would actually go after him this time. He's gotten over that. He got the Blades victory in Velasquez's win. I'd actually be down to see that.
As much as it pains me to say, I would be down to see Lewis versus Ngannou too.
And you have to think, DC said, if it's not Brock or Jones, it's probably going to be Stipe. He said those are the 3 guys. So if he's not going to fight John or Brock, he might actually just rematch Stipe.
The thing with Stipe also is he does realistically.
I don't think
he deserves a rematch.
You think so?
No, just off of merit alone, like longest reigning heavyweight champion, three defenses,
which is insane,
and we don't really have a standout contender right now besides John Jones if he wants to move up, and Brock Lesnar is pretty much the only other candidate due to the money factor that he brings into this, right?
Based off resume and skill.
Who else is the standout fighter that deserves a rematch, right? Miocic, merit, and I guess because of record. Maybe not due to the fact that he got, just absolutely dummied by Daniel Cormier and got finished, but I don't want to see it. I want to see John Jones move up. I want to see 100%. Them, I want to see, because we're going to get a better DC in my opinion too. And we need to have that fight ASAP before he gets even older, because he's already 40 or 41, whatever the fuck he is.
He's already talking about he almost blew his back out from sneezing. I don't like that.
I don't like that. So
we need, get on the DDP
we need him, we need him at his healthiest, which is at heavyweight, so he doesn't have to cut any motherfucking weight. He can eat all the Popeyes that he wants, and he can just, train as much as he wants. He doesn't have to worry about cutting any weight.
245 DC. That's what
fully hydrated, happy Daniel Cormier in his prime, maybe still, against John Bones Jones, making his heavyweight debut.
DC's older, but I think he started MMA at 30, so he doesn't have too much MMA mileage on him.
I agree.
So I think that's why. Plus, he's just so damn good.
Yeah,
that's probably why he's been able to go for as long as he has. But yeah, definitely, I think he should get that third Jones fight at heavyweight. I mean, even for Jones, I know he talks about that fight doesn't interest him, but really, why not? You can go up to heavyweight and get a second belt and get 3 wins over another guy who, if you weren't around, would be pound for pound king probably. Like that,
we know we're getting
I feel like that's.
We know we're getting a depleted DC whenever he goes to 205. Yet he still puts on master performances, even against even in the John Jones fight, he was doing relatively well before he got caught with that head kick.
Oh, the second fight,
the second fight, he was doing really good. So
it was, I remember. Yeah,
you could arguably say if that was a heavyweight, maybe he would not have gotten KO'd. But I don't know. Like, it was a perfectly landed shot. John Jones has talked about obviously lining up that head kick for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
And he ended up lining it up. So, so moving forward, pretty much, I want to see DC against John Bones Jones at heavyweight.
100%, I would like to see that.
Tony's down with that. Tony doesn't even mind a Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis rematch. I guess I'm down with that.
I guess we'd have to see if Lewis can get by JDS.
Yeah, if
Lewis loses to JDS, I'd probably do Ngannou and Miocic. If Stipe even takes the fight.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Stipe wants to take any fight outside of a title fight, though.
So, that's pretty much wrapping up our heavyweight landscape discussion, which is going to bring us to another segment before our last main story. So, I don't know if anybody used to watch back in the day, NBA TV. They used to have a program called Double Dribble. I like the concept that they have where they're able to cover a boatload of topics with minimal time. It may have been stuff that you guys have heard about already. We're already a couple days removed from February, so I'm sure you heard most of these topics already beaten to death like a horse, but there are still some topics I believe we should be able to cover in a very small amount of time. So me and Tony are going to be covering 5 topics, 1 minute each, and my man Big Rob is going to be mediating it for us, making sure we're on the clock, just 1 minute. And then we get both of our perspectives and then move right on. So there's a bunch of things, small things that happened in February that I believe we can sort at least 1 minute each for this. So I'm going to bring in my man Big Rob to kick us off with the first one. What's up, Big Rob? Thanks.
Hey.
What's up, buddy? It's weird doing this not with you as the casuals.
I know.
But we appreciate you here as always. So, yeah, let's let him get comfortable and get us right into the first topic under Double Jab.
Okay, guys. So the first topic here, Georges St. Pierre retirement. How do you view his career, and what did he mean to you?
Okay, so GSP clearly one of, I guess he could, a lot of people consider him the true GOAT. Like when you look at his whole career as a whole, like his entire resume and the fact that there was no drug test controversy over any of it. I think Silva pretty much took himself out of the running. I feel like it's between him and Jones, and most people go with him because of the drug test controversy. I'm not going to argue that at all. Yeah. I obviously, like, I don't like the fact that he probably could have gotten more finishes, but he did fight super smart and totally shut down his opponents. And he was... I still remember the first fight going in, the Matt Serra fight when we were watching, when the build up to that. That was probably one of the biggest fights I had ever seen up to that point. The reception he got, that was like, we pretty much started watching, I think, from when he fought Matt Hughes in the interim title fight.
Yep.
And then going into that fight, and from then on, it was, I don't really know what else to say about GSP, really.
All right.
All right, that was 1 minute.
All right. So in terms of my views for Georges St. Pierre, the one memory that I'm always going to have. So I've already talked about this on the MMA Lawcast in the past. I used to do a lot of volunteer work for the UFC. So one of the first ever events I helped with him with was UFC 129 when he fought Jake Shields in Toronto, the first ever event in Toronto. It was freaking great. One of the first tasks that I had on the first day that I was working with him was to go give a schedule sheet to Georges St. Pierre's room, to his coach, or to whoever, his manager, I believe it was. And they gave me his room number, and I'm like tripping. I'm like, oh my God, Georges St. Pierre is going to be there. Oh, fuck, this is my first time. Like, this is the first big star I'm ever going to see face to face and shit like that, right? So he opens up he didn't open up the door. Somebody opened up the door, and I can see George getting a back massage. And he looks over, he goes, come in, man. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I just have to give this. And I fucking dipped, dude. I was so starstruck. I was so starstruck. In my opinion, I think he's the GOAT. He did it the cleanest, like you said. Beat the best competition that was out there for him. And I think he's the GOAT. Thank you, Big Rob. Perfect. Keeping us on the ball.
Yeah, man.
All right. What's number 2? What do we got?
Okay, so is Jose Aldo back?
All right. So I'll kick this one off. So we're talking about Jose Aldo just beating Renato Moicano this past month. Looked pretty good doing it, in my opinion, but I'm not totally sold, man. I think that Moicano style was more so like a style that, he point fights and doesn't really look for the finish too much, in my opinion. Cub Swanson is susceptible to getting finished nowadays. But besides that, he's more of a point fighter, in my opinion. And I think with that, Jose Aldo was able to open up his striking a little bit more. I'm not completely sold on the fact that he's back, but I think the next fight that he has with Alexander Volkanovski will probably be like a good barometer in terms of if he's back or not. I'm not completely sold that he's back. You can say what you want with the 2 victories that he's coming off of right now, but I know I gotta wait for Alexander Volkanovski and see what he has to say about Jose Aldo and his so-called return. Do you think he's back?
No. I'm totally with you there. I'm not fully convinced that Jose Aldo's back yet. He got 2 good TKO wins, but in the Jeremy Stevens fight, he was arguably losing that round before he got the body shot to finish. He was still getting tagged. Kenny Florian mentioned it in the Anakin Flow podcast, how he's being a little reckless in these exchanges and kind of leaving his chin out there. So someone can, like, he's still open to counters. So someone against some like a high level striker like a Max Holloway or Connor, they're still probably going to be able to touch his chin and put him out. It almost feels like before he was getting all these decision wins and stifling opponents, but now he can't really do that. So now he's just, the fighter in him is coming out, he's throwing back, and that's how he's getting the finishes. How long can you really do that for, especially when you have so many miles on you? So I'm not totally sold that he's back yet. We'll see, but I don't know. Just against the top tier, I'm not sure.
Do you think Do you think he gets by Alexander Volkanovski? Yes or no? Just give me yes or no.
Yes, because Volkanovski has the way he got tagged in the Chad Mendes fight. I can totally see Aldo putting him out. Yeah.
Okay.
If you get into a slugfest with Aldo, you're probably going to lose that.
Okay. Rob, what's number 3? What do we got?
Okay. Thoughts on Stefan Struve's possible retirement?
All right, so Stefan Struve. I think we saw his first fight in the UFC, Paul Buentello.
Yeah.
I almost remember watching that in your basement. This giant 6'11" guy. So much promise, 22 years old, all the time in the world to get better, and he kind of never really did. He stayed at the same level. To be fair, it could be this heart problem that didn't allow him to train properly and get. And
I think it was the Matt Mitrione fight that he had to pull out.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
before, yeah.
And then he kind of looked really sluggish in the Mark Hunt fight too, just kind of standing stationary, and I think that's when the heart problems started. So maybe it was a cardio thing too, but I think a lot of it just had to do with him not training properly. Like, why didn't Stefan Struve develop a jab? Like, that's really the only
The
punch he
basics,
needed to
man.
have, and he probably would have been able to beat anybody.
The fucking basics.
Overall, he did have a good record. He had a respectable record. He got a lot of finishes. He has that big win over Stipe. Still remember him being an underdog, and I think I cashed in on that one. And it was surprising now in hindsight when you look at where their careers went after that. But yeah, Stefan Struve, a good record, but probably didn't live up to the hype as much as he could have.
All right. At least for me, like I kind of, chime the same sentiments that Tony has in terms of, a guy that Stefan Struve was never a guy that reached the potential that a guy with his frame could probably achieve with maybe a better fight IQ, maybe better fight preparation. I don't know what more he could do. You know what I mean? Like, there are some guys that are just huge, like Juan Adams, for example. This guy's a big dude, but he can move much better than Stefan Struve. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's the most technical fighter right now. He's still really green in his own career as well. But with Stefan Struve, we never saw, if anything, we saw more of a deterioration of his skills. Like, I remember where, you would kind of be even scared or terrified of his guard even. You know what I mean? Like, people were too scared to even go on the ground with him because he did have decent jiu-jitsu for a big man, for a heavyweight. He had decent jiu-jitsu, but I didn't feel like we saw much of that in his later fights against Tybura where he got controlled by a striker. So good for Struve. If he gets retirement, good for him. But I don't really care to see him fight anymore.
Yeah, I mean, good career. It just it felt like a little, like maybe his expectations.
He fell short.
Yeah, it was a little short. Yeah.
All right, what do we got number 4?
Okay, so Bellator welterweight tournament thoughts, and who do you think wins?
So I'll kick this one off. Just a quick reminder for you guys: Naaman Gracie is waiting for the winner of Rory McDonald and John Fitch, who fight in April. And then we got Douglas Lima fighting Michael Venom Page in round 2. So in my opinion, I think the dark horse pulls this one off. Well, first of all, let's just talk about the quick fights. MVP and Paul Daly, very underwhelming fight. It came down to one specific takedown, I think, in the 5th round that gave it to Michael Page. But, very underwhelming in terms of the fights that we were most anticipating for this tournament. Douglas Lima looking like a fucking monster. Great win for him over Andrei Koreshkov. Naaman Gracie, I think, defeating the dark horse of the tournament, and he himself becoming the dark horse of the tournament, in my opinion. I think he has a really good chance, and I think that we see Rory McDonald beat John Fitch, but then lose to Naaman Gracie. So I'm going to take Naaman Gracie as a dark horse winner of this tournament. I think Douglas Lima has a great opportunity and great chance to win this. And I think that he would beat Rory McDonald if he's the one that he ended up facing in the finals. But I think Naaman Gracie takes this and secures a Cinderella story. What do you think, Tony?
Like you were talking about on the Daly Page fight, how disappointing that was. I think that pretty much made Douglas Lima a very big favorite on that side of the bracket. People are almost writing Page off now at this point if you're going to get out wrestled by Paul Daly. I would
have loved to see the odds for Lima versus MVP before this Daly fight would have happened. But continue, sorry.
Yeah. That's a good point. So I definitely agree with it. I think I don't know about Naaman Gracie necessarily winning it, although I do actually think he has a better shot against Rory than people might think. And yes, I agree. I think Rory will easily stifle John Fitch grappling and just destroy him in the stand-up.
That's a buy.
Yeah. And I actually think Lima's going to take it. I think Lima's going to beat Page, and I would probably favor Rory if he comes out like the animal he should come out as, but he's almost, since the Lawler fights, I don't know if he's quite the same anymore.
He's still doing enough to win in Bellator, but
yeah, I was surprised at how much of a beating he took against Lima, though. But either way, he still pulled it off. So I actually think Lima's it's gonna be Lima Rory 2 in the finals, and I think Lima's gonna take it.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. All right, last one, Rob. Hit us.
Okay, with with Whitaker pulling out of UFC 234, which past UFC fight week pullout had you most depressed?
Tony, so which fight in the past that pulled out during a UFC fight week, a last minute pullout, had you most depressed?
Right off the top.
I'll kick it off. I'll kick it off. I have mine already ready to go. I got Khabib Nurmagomedov putting out against Tony Ferguson the day of the whole tiramisu gate.
That's the first thing I was going to think.
That's tiramisu gate.
Yeah, probably have to. Yep.
So I'm going to go with that one.
That was the day of.
That was day of. I think you're right.
Was it the weight cut, and then that's when he fought Lando Venata?
Fuck, I can't remember.
They've had a couple of.
They've had a couple.
Fallouts.
They've had a couple of fallouts for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna continue with mine in terms of that one had me the most freaked out. Like I think that was the third time they had it together, or the second time they had it together. But regardless, we know in the lightweight division that's the fight that fucking needs to happen. If there's any fight that's needed to happen in the past 2 years, it's been that fight. Even 3 years if you want to take it that far. And neither of them were a champion at that point. But I think that's the fight that needs to happen. And I was so fucking gutted. Like one of my boys, NP on Twitter, he was flying out to New York from Minnesota to go see Khabib. He thought he was going to see Khabib Holloway, and then he got off the plane, and it was Khabib Ally Quinta. Like, that one happened overnight, and that was crazy. But, yeah, okay. That one had me the most depressed. What about you, Tony?
That was the pull-up for Tony pulling out.
Yeah, that was a pull-up for Tony, but I'm just saying, like, there's just been so many heartaches.
That was actually the one I was going to say, because that one happened before, and that one was the one you're talking about, the tiramisu, where Khabib pulled out. I think it was the weight cut, his liver shut down or something like that. That one was heartbreaking. But then you get to this one, and it's like the fourth time we're gonna make it this time, right? No, Ferguson trips, falls, and destroys
the most
his
freak
knee
thing too
at a media event, and then that fight has to fall through. Then on top of that, we think, like you said, we're getting Holloway Khabib, and we have to settle for Quinta Khabib. Ended up being
you're settling with that first. You're like, all right, I guess I'll go with Holloway Khabib. And then we don't get that either.
Yeah, ended up being a good fight, but it was like two big fights right before that in the span of like 2 days, which was called off. Super disappointing. Everybody at this point just wants to see Khabib and Tony. I feel like you need to get them into bubbles when the fight's announced and have them train as bubble boys and just until they get into the cage.
I love
just
it.
So we can actually see the damn fight. Do you think we ever see that fight?
I hope we see it.
You think so?
Well, you know what? That is the perfect leeway into our next segment, which is our last main story of the night, which is the featherweight debauchery that's going on right now. So, for those who don't know, well, most of you should know if you're watching this fucking podcast, Max Holloway is going up in weight to fight Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight champion, which is lineally belongs to Tony Ferguson. But
oh my God, there's a lineal interim.
There's a lineal interim champion now. So pull out your fucking charts, pull out your science books or whatever the fuck you need, and plot out this chart of where the champions currently remain in every fucking division and interim champs and all that bullshit. But regardless, we're getting, for some fucking reason, well, we know Tony Ferguson turned it down. He was supposed to fight Max Holloway. Regardless, my question is, why the fuck, with everything that's going on in both divisions, in my opinion, both are booming divisions, we're getting this completely useless and stupid fight. Logically, it makes no sense to me. Obviously, entertainment value, it's going to be fucking amazing. I won't be complaining day of the fight or even week of the fight. I'm sure I'm going to have a fucking hard-on the whole week thinking about this fucking fight. But regardless, logically and like for the order of things, it makes no fucking sense to me. What do you make of this shit?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make any sense. You got the number 3 lightweight fighting the featherweight champion for the interim lightweight title. That just
is he champ? Does he become champ if he wins?
Interim champ. So the sick. I don't know what you want to call that. I don't even. The ICC,
we need a term for that. We need a term because it might come into existence. There is a high, based on the odds, which I currently think have Max Holloway at like minus 250.
2.5, I think 2.5 to 1.
It is very likely that we see an interim champ, or a interim champ, however the fuck you want to stage it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I do think Holloway should win that, but you never know. Going up to lightweight, I don't know. I definitely favor him, right? If he wins, though, I feel like just give Ferguson the real belt fight against Khabib, even though Max Holloway is the interim champ.
And
maybe have him go fight featherweight and defend his belt while Tony just gets his title shot. Because Tony cannot get any fight unless it's for the actual lightweight belt. That's the
Khabib
only
shouldn't
fight
be
he should do.
Khabib shouldn't be
should
accepting
hold out.
any fight
Yeah, he should hold
that
out for Tony.
has anybody else's name other than Tony Ferguson's name on that contract.
Yes.
Same thing with Tony Ferguson, vice versa.
And the thing with Khabib is, you'll probably only get like 1 or 2 more fights out of this guy. He only likes to fight like once
Yeah.
every 18 months. And on top of that, he's just been paid way too much money
Yes.
now with the Conor fight.
Yes.
I think just because he's like honorable and a savage warrior like that,
Yeah.
he keeps saying that him and Tony have to get this
They
fight
gotta-
done.
they gotta
It's
resolve
4
that
times
shit.
it's been booked. You gotta get it done.
Yeah.
So I don't care who's an interim champ, whatever. I still feel like when Khabib is ready to fight, he should be defending his real belt against Ferguson.
And one thing that I really want to nip in the bud too, because I had this conversation on Twitter earlier today regarding, let's not book Tony Khabib because we're never going to get that fight. Every time they get it together, they're never somebody always pulls out. It doesn't matter whoever you put them up against. Even if Tony was scheduled to fight fucking Conor McGregor or some shit. If an injury happens, it's gonna happen.
It's
It
gonna
never.
happen.
It doesn't matter who the fuck is the end opponent is.
It's just crazy.
You have to
coincidence that it
just
keeps
book
happening.
it. Book it 20 times if you have to. I don't give a fuck. These two need to fight. They are clearly the best 2 lightweights in the world right now. I think Tony Ferguson would beat Conor McGregor as well, but that's a different discussion. With his featherweight debauchery, though. So you have, again, Max Holloway going up in weight. When I still think that he still needs to have a couple performances to secure himself as the GOAT of the light or the featherweights.
Well,
you got viable contenders there right now. You know what I mean?
Could you pull up the rankings real quick?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
With
I got
that
it.
visually.
I got
oh,
it.
that was on me.
Yeah. Featherweights.
Yeah. The thing about Holloway too is he hasn't defended the belt too many times, but he had
Yeah.
to beat like everybody on the way to the belt. So he has beaten a lot of guys.
Okay, so he's beaten Aldo twice. He beat
he's
Ortega. That's 1 and 2 right
Smash
there.
1 and 2, yeah. He never fought Edgar, and I felt like Edgar was the last guy he had to beat in that division, although he's at the
Yep.
tail end of his career now,
Yep.
and I actually don't care to see that fight as much anymore.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you just got a couple of
Volkanovski
up-and-coming.
Aldo, right? You got that fight, which I
Yeah.
think should determine #1 contender if Volkanovski wins.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
nobody
yeah,
wants to see
100%.
Aldo
That's
fucking
the thing, yeah. He's
Holloway
just
3.
2 to defend.
You also have
You
Zabit
got
Magomed
Zabit coming up.
Sharipov fucking finally cementing his name in the top 6 now. He should be fine.
I
in my
mean, at
opinion,
this
but
point, based on this, it looks like we should probably get Zabit Brian Ortega,
I like that. I like
right?
that.
Or maybe Zabit gets Frankie. I don't know. Do you know what's up with Frankie? He hasn't fought since he beat Cub.
I'm not sure. I feel like he's scheduled. I'm not. I
He
feel
might,
like
yeah, he might have got injured.
I think he got scheduled again.
Yeah, but either way, it looks like
Yeah, there's no way
I
I'm gonna
don't
see that.
I
No
don't.
way.
Do you think Holloway actually ever goes? If Holloway becomes the interim lightweight champ, he might just vacate that title, and then you might have to do like maybe a mini tournament with the winner of Aldo Volkanovski maybe fighting the winner of Ortega and Zabit
It should be.
or
It should
something,
be.
or Ortega.
It should be winner of Volkanovski and Aldo against Zabit for the vacant title if Max Holloway vacates.
Really, you think? But
Yeah.
Zabit directly into a title shot?
Why the fuck not? Jeremy
don't
Stevens
know,
is
man.
Jeremy Stevens is a stiff win compared to like the other guys are. Mirsad Bektik is still there, but he's
But he's number 6 right now. To get number 6 in the light. In the
Okay, but
vacant title.
who's ahead of him? I don't know what the hell's
I
going on with
would
Frankie
think
Edgar.
Ortega would be.
Zabit versus Ortega would be a great fight.
I think Ortega would have to be one guy in a vacant featherweight title fight. I
Okay.
think they would 100% do that, and then
Okay.
probably the winner of Aldo Volkanovski.
Okay.
I think Ortega seems to want to fight right now in the summer. Dude, chill out. You just got pounded on in December. I don't even care to see him fight until like the end of the year, maybe November, December card.
That's true.
And then he could probably easily just take his time, wait for Volkanovski Aldo to play out, and then get the winner of that. I think that's probably the better option for him. Because outside of Aldo, there's no real upside to him fighting anybody else.
Yeah.
And and it's probably just a good idea to rest right now.
In terms of okay, say Holloway loses
Yeah.
against Poirier. I think that might be the best course of action for both divisions, even though it would have a little bit of a stain on Max Holloway's career. I think for the order of things, again, I think that if Max Holloway loses, he just goes back to featherweight and continues to
It
defend
would
his
kind
title.
of return normalcy.
Exactly. And then Poirier, I wouldn't mind if he fought Khabib next, but we need Tony Ferguson versus Khabib again. We're done with that one. So we get Aldo Volkanovski, Zabit hopefully gets a big shot up there. Fuck, man. I really hope that if Holloway wins the interim title and they do end up booking Khabib versus Holloway, that he vacates 45 and let those guys.
I think he will. He's
needs
not
to be
as
the
young
course of
anymore,
action.
and he's massive.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to want to keep.
He's a
doing that
big
weight cut.
fucking dude.
He's made his mark at featherweight.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he needs to do that much more.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's not like a super clear-cut contender either. I mean, you've blown out number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And there's still a couple of fights that
So,
have to happen. So
just-
yeah,
Just wrapping this part of it
Yeah.
up. Do you think that this was the right move to make? Was it right move for Max Holloway to fight Dustin Poirier for the
No,
title?
the fight should have been actually what Khabib had suggested months ago. I saw this. He said, I think they're going to do Tony Ferguson versus Dustin Poirier
That's
for the
the fight.
interim lightweight title.
That should have been the
That's
fight.
what the fight should have
Yeah.
been. It shouldn't have been Tony Ferguson getting offered a Holloway fight
I know.
for the interim title. It should have been just straight him
I think
versus Poirier.
Tony said on the fact that he only wants to fight Khabib next, so we'll see how
He's
that,
already the interim champ.
Yeah,
He shouldn't
is
have
a
to
champ.
fight for
He
the
is
title
lineal.
again.
We'll say it again. He's
that
a
is-
lineal
yeah.
interim champ right now. So
He is the interim champ. Yeah.
yeah, so that's pretty much it for the featherweight debauchery. I think we've kind of worked that out. You know, it is what it is. We're going to be able to enjoy at least a great fight of Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier, which is actually going to be a rematch. So that should be interesting to see where they've grown within the years that they've last competed. And we're going to cap off this episode with our most anticipated fight for March. So we're actually recording this on March 7th, which means that UFC 235 has already occurred. So that's kind of already out of our possible options, because, you know, if we had put fucking John Jones against Anthony Smith as the most anticipated fight, we would have been like, fuck, man. Like, we would have been really let down once that fight actually finished, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start off with mine real quick.
Yep.
I gotta go. There's two fights that stuck out to me. The honorable mention is just for the pure chaos and violency that's gonna transpire. Is gonna be Jack Marshman against John the White Mike Tyson Phillips. Those guys are just gonna fucking stand and throw bungalows. But for me, the guys that take the cake is Leon Edwards against Gunnar Nelson. I think that I've been a big fan of Gunnar Nelson ever since he's come to the UFC. I think this is a big fight in his career, at least for his trajectory in terms of where he goes in the welterweight division after this. Leon Edwards is coming off the biggest win of his career against Cowboy Cerrone. I think that both guys have a lot to prove. It's going to be very interesting to see Gunnar Nelson's karate style going up against Leon Edwards, more technical, savage style with his striking. And is Gunnar Nelson going to be able to get this to the ground where he probably wants it, and probably has the biggest advantage as well. So I got to go with Gunnar Nelson. I think that it, really sets. I think maybe the winner of that fight should fight the winner of the main event, which is Darren Till and Jorge Masvidal. Maybe that sets up the next contender. You know what I mean? While Colby goes and fights Kamaru Usman, we get Till Masvidal winner against Gunnar and Leon Edwards winner. But that's pretty much my most anticipated fight for March. What do you got, Tony?
And just to kind of piggyback off that, Leon Edwards is like another one, like Charles Oliveira. He's one of those guys, like, I really love him. I've watched him since the beginning. But he does get a lot of these wins where he definitely wins the fight, but not super impressively.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's probably got to get like a good TKO finish.
It's like that. It's like that Michel Prazeres rise before, like, he got finished in lost in his last fight, where he put together 8 straight wins, 9 straight wins, but it's against whatever guys, and they're not the most impressive wins either. So yeah, he is kind of suffering from that. But what do you got as your most anticipated fight?
Man, I have to go with fight that's going to be fireworks, Barboza Gaethje.
The fight thing is, when I brought this up, that's like, he goes, I know what the fuck I'm thinking. I'm like, don't tell me, but I think I know.
I just pulled up the cards happening and saw that. I was like, oh, hell yes, sign me up for that one. That's probably going to be complete chaos. I think it's a 5-round. It's a main
5-rounder. Dealt will need him.
Yeah, so you never know. Like, you could see maybe Barboza knocks his ass out like really quickly, or maybe Gaethje just zombifies, goes into zombie mode, withstands it, and just overwhelms him in the 4th or 5th and finishes him. I kind of hope that's what happens, just for entertainment's sake.
I agree.
But yeah, I definitely have to go with Barboza Gaethje. That fight has fireworks written all over it. Just super excitement. It's a Gaethje fight at the end of the day. I do think it's a really tough matchup for him, though.
I was gonna get your take on it real quick. Just give me a 2-sentence blurb of who do you think wins and why.
Man, it's almost like 50-50. It's like, can Barboza finish him in the first 2 rounds? Because if he doesn't, he's probably screwed. But if he, you know what? I'm actually going to go with Justin Gaethje in like a late round finish, like a 4th round TKO.
Well, I'm sure
Barboza still gets wild when you go after him.
Yep.
He'll kind of, like, just to get you out of his face, just kind of keep throwing.
Yep.
And if you can withstand that and kind of stay out of the way of the KO shots, you can generally pressure him. That's how he loses, generally, just pressuring.
Benito Dariush pretty much had his number until he got rocked with that knee.
Ferguson just once again just walked through all the strikes and walked him down and finally got the submission. So Justin Gaethje's got the style there. Even the fights where Gaethje's been put out, it's not been like just from one shot. It's been like an accumulation.
Yeah.
Barboza can definitely do that, but I don't know if he can put up with the pace, especially in a 5-round fight. So I'd probably lean towards Gaethje in that. But either way, I think the fight's gonna be. I can't
fucking wait for that.
It's gonna be pretty insane.
I can't fucking wait for that. Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna touch on that in the next episode for sure when we cover March. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We got the first show under wraps. I think it fucking went awesome. I loved it, man. I thought it was
not
fucking
too
great.
bad. Right,
My man Big Rob did great with the double
so.
jab.
Guys, this was great.
Fuck yeah,
Awesome.
man. I'm excited for what's to come, and I think we got something really special
I mean,
here.
it's so
I think-
natural for us to talk about
right?
MMA. dude.
I know you were a little bit nervous. I know you were a little bit
Yeah,
nervous
for
coming
sure,
into this,
for
but
sure,
it
man.
seems like you really got into the groove, like a little bit into it. So I'm super excited to keep this going, man. It helps me
Any other
myself
topic,
as well.
maybe I'd be like,
Yeah, exactly,
But,
but
it's like this is MMA.
It's so
man.
natural for
We
us.
we
Just
like,
seeing Big Rob's reactions to some of these things too is fucking hilarious because he's just like, these guys are probably nerdy as fuck, but
You guys know your shit.
Oh yeah.
for sure. But yeah, no, I'm excited to do this. We got a lot of fun things for you guys coming. Trust me, I know we got something special with this, and we're gonna take it as far as we can.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah, this is going to be on the MMA LOTN YouTube page. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, do all that shit that you guys do at the bottom. Hit us with comments in the comment section as well. You know, give us some topics that we could probably use for the next episode for the double jab. You know what I mean? I got a couple that are already in my mind. But, you know, if there's certain topics that you guys want us to hit from March, we would be happy to cover them in the next episode. So make sure you guys check that out. This is coming out before the UFC Wichita card, so I'm just going to pump it out real quick. I got 3 plays locked in right now for my Lock of the Night picks, coming off a big win over UFC 235, cleaned the whole board. Crazy fucking event, but we're going hard with UFC Wichita this weekend. And I'll be back personally myself to break down, what's the card after this one? UFC London. I'll be breaking down UFC
That's
London for you guys next
Masvidal?
week. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the next one. So I'll be back in the studio with my man Big Rob next week to break that down for you guys. But yeah, hit me on Twitter, man. Let us know what you guys think of the show, where we can improve, and anything that we can help entertain you guys even more. So me at MMA LOTN. We're eventually going to get Tony on fucking Twitter, I think. Oh, by the way,
social media.
yes,
God.
we're going to get his ass on there. But I wanted to start off the show by introducing Tony, a.k.a. Tunes, which is kind of our nickname for him. And also, he's never heard this one before, but I had to fucking do it, a.k.a. the Keto King. Instead,
The Keto King.
If
Keto King.
if Brendan Schaub is a Keto Kid, my man Tony is a Keto King, because this guy fucking wrecks shit. But I'll let him next episode. I'll let him fucking break down what he's all into, and he has a lot of shit to offer you guys as well. So I'm really excited for him to share that with you guys too. But that's pretty much it, man. We're done. That's it.
Yes, sir.
We're out.
I think it went well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peace. We're out.
See ya.
Later, guys.
All right.
Nice.